Daily Words of God. The experiences of all types of people represent the things within them. Anyone without any spiritual experience cannot speak of knowledge of the truth, nor of correct knowledge about various spiritual things. What man expresses is what he is inside. This is certain. If one wishes to have knowledge of spiritual things and knowledge of the truth, one must have real experience. If you cannot speak clearly about common sense in human life, how much less will you be able to talk about spiritual things? Those who can lead churches, supply people with life, and be apostles to the people must have actual experience. They must have a correct understanding of spiritual things and a correct appreciation and experience of the truth. Only such people are qualified to be workers or apostles who lead the churches. Otherwise, they can only follow as the least and cannot lead, much less be apostles who are able to supply people with life. This is because the function of apostles is not to rush about or to fight. It is to do the work of ministering life and leading others in transforming their dispositions. Those who perform this function are commissioned to shoulder a heavy responsibility, one that not just anyone can shoulder. This kind of work can only be undertaken by those with life being, that is, those who have experience of the truth. It cannot be undertaken by merely anyone who can renounce, who can rush about, or who is willing to expend themselves. People who have no experience of the truth, who have not been pruned or judged, are unable to do this type of work. People with no experience, who are people without reality, are unable to see reality clearly because they themselves are without this kind of being. So this type of person is not only unable to do leadership work, but if they remain without the truth for a long while, they will become an object of elimination. The insight you express can stand as proof of the hardships you have experienced in life, the things for which you are chastised, and the issues for which you have been judged. This is also true of trials. Where one is refined, where one is weak, these are the areas in which one has experience, in which one has a path. For example, if someone suffers frustrations in marriage, they will often fellowship. Thank God, praise God, I must satisfy God's heart's desire and offer up my entire life, and I must place my marriage entirely in God's hands. I am willing to pledge my whole life to God. All the things within man can demonstrate what he is through fellowship. The pace of a person's speech, whether they speak loudly or quietly, such matters are not matters of experience and cannot represent what they have and are. These things can only tell whether a person's character is good or bad, or whether their nature is good or bad. But they cannot be equated with whether someone has experience. The ability to express oneself when speaking, or the skill or speed of speech, is just a matter of practice and cannot replace one's experience. When you talk about your individual experiences, you fellowship that which you find important and all the things within you. My speech represents my being, but what I say is beyond the reach of man. What I say is not that which man experiences, and it is not something that man can see. It is also not something that man can touch, but is what I am. Some people acknowledge only that what I fellowship is what I have experienced, but they do not recognize that it is the direct expression of the Spirit. Of course, what I say is what I have experienced. It is I who have done the management work for 6,000 years. I have experienced everything from the beginning of the creation of mankind until now. How would I be unable to discuss that? When it comes to man's nature, I have seen clearly. I observed it long ago. How would I be unable to talk clearly about it? Since I have seen the substance of man clearly, I am qualified to chastise man and judge him, because all of man came from me, but has been corrupted by Satan. Of course, I am also qualified to assess the work I have done. Although this work is not done by my flesh, it is the direct expression of the Spirit, and this is what I have and what I am. Therefore, I am qualified to express it and to do the work I ought to do. What people say is what they have experienced. It is what they have seen, what their minds can reach, and what their senses can detect. That is what they can fellowship. The words spoken by God's incarnate flesh are the direct expression of the Spirit, and they express the work that has been done by the Spirit, which the flesh has not experienced or seen, yet he still expresses his being. For the essence of the flesh is the Spirit, and he expresses the work of the Spirit. It is work already done by the Spirit, though it is beyond the reach of the flesh. After incarnation, through the expression of the flesh, he enables people to know God's being and allows people to see God's disposition and the work that he has done. The work of man gives people greater clarity about what they should enter into and what they should understand. It involves leading people toward understanding and experiencing the truth. Man's work is to sustain people. God's work is to open up new paths and new eras for mankind, and to reveal to people that which is not known by mortals, enabling them to know his disposition. God's work is to lead all of mankind.